nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. I'll be your host tonight, and with me tonight is Rafa. And the reason why this will be the SAFC coverage. They lost 5-0 to FC Dallas this past week, and that's pretty much all the information you got. So I hate to say it, there's not a whole lot more to say. The SAFC media team, it was pretty short, pretty frank, saying, "Yep, we lost," and better days are ahead. It's, in my opinion, it's better to get the ugly loss out of the way and for it here in preseason. So, your quick thoughts on SAFC here?
Did PC get a yellow card?
No, he didn't. He actually he got subbed off. I want to say 38th minute, somewhere around there, due to an injury. So. Hopefully nothing serious. Hopefully just a precaution. But outside of the game, I know they mentioned Matt Cardone had a good save. I know there was an own goal for the second goal. But you have to give it to FC Dallas. They put the pressure on and kept it on. And that's I'm assuming they didn't take the 0-0 tie last week here in Toyota Field very well, and they are MLS, and it was in FC Dallas, and obviously we don't want SAFC to lose ever, but if you're going to have a poor performance, it's better when it doesn't count than when they do count. Rafa, how are you?
I guess they needed the points.
Yeah, it's I know there's the Copa Lite, I think is what it is.
Copita. Because that's probably the only trophy they could probably win. For FC Dallas.
I won't go there. I think FC Dallas is going to have a good team. I think out of the Texas teams and with United Soccer FC, I'm probably going to come out with a prediction show this weekend or before the season starts. Mm-hmm. To me, like I said, I think FC Dallas is a little undervalued, and we make fun of them because there's nobody, it's Frisco FC and in the middle of nowhere. But I think this year they got a pretty good team, especially compare. I guess the other news, Austin FC played Houston and lost 3-2, and some people, I guess, in Austin are overreacting to a preseason friendly, but that's what happens when you plant a tree and it's fully grown as opposed to growing from the roots and growing up. But that's a whole separate discussion. They're thinking they're coming in and going to go through for that. Hopefully, final thoughts on SAFC. Hopefully, everybody got their seat selections if you're season ticket members. For that here, I know a little haggle here, but I ended up getting reasonable better seats here, which I'll talk to you off air here, Rafa here. So on that here, but we're not here to talk about SAFC tonight here. It's going to be more about the quarterfinal results, correct? And then kind of previewing the regional semifinals for it here. So I have created a new bracket for it here, a little bit cleaner. Have last week's results here, and then, of course, as results happen tonight or tomorrow. I think most games are tomorrow. There might be a few tonight here, but obviously no results as of yet. We'll kind of go over it here. On Wednesday, we're going to have another soccer preview show with the 50-50 podcast, Coach Kano, and I'm trying to see if Lethal Enforcer is going to be coming on. and I'm trying to see if from the Striker Texas if we can get their RGV reporter on as well, and I'll confirm that. But I know it will be the SA Soccer Roundtable and the 50/50 podcast as we fill in the bracket here. And like I said here, last time you did pretty well, but I saw too much red on the old bracket, so I figure let's break out a new one. Got the results here, which I think kind of helps as well here, for the discussion here. So we're going to start out with the 4A boys. Obviously, top of the brackets, Region 1 and 2. Bottom half of the brackets, Region 3 or 4. And obviously, we're in Region 4 here, so that'll be probably most of the discussion. Although Rafa does have, pretty decent knowledge on the major high schools here in the state of Texas here. So Stephenville squeaked out in PKs over San Eli 5-4. Diamond Hill Jarvis beat Midlothian, and I know there was a picture. I'm not sure if it was real or fake about the team. I'll just leave it at that. Community beat Terrell 2-1. Palestine beat Pittsburgh. Palestine beat Pittsburgh 1-0 for that here. Bottom of the bracket, Mineral Wells, took Berger out 6-2. Another good game, Castleberry 1-1 and won in PKs 4-2. And the bottom half of the other side, Paris beat Chapel Hill 3-1. And Salina on the boys' side beat Athens 2-1 here. So on the top half of the bracket here, anything that stands out to you from last week's actions?
A little heartbreaker for San Eli, losing in PKs. But props to Stephenville. I think they've come a long way. I remember that program. I remember we played them in San Angelo back in the early 2000s. And they weren't soccer savvy. They were more known for football. But it's a great win for them. And, they knock off someone that's won state. So it's a good confidence booster going in. But that Diamond Hill Jarvis team, they might be the Cinderella or the Mr. Cinderella. After looking at the picture.
The picture that was floated around had guys that had better beards than I do. And, not that I have a good beard to begin with, but, we'll just leave it at that. So they looked very mature, not that we're trying to instigate trouble here. Down on the bottom here, anything that sticks out to you? Mineral Wells with the 6-2, pretty convincing.
Yeah, I'm sure they were going to get by Borger. Castleberry, I think they were listed as one of the favorites. Palestine, like I said, they've been a state powerhouse for 4A. Close one with Pittsburgh. Should be a really interesting next game with that community team. No one knows too much about community, but I think they're not going to take them lightly. So that's going to be a real good game. And then Paris and Salina. I think Paris, like I said, might have a little edge on that game. So so Region 1 and Region 2, they're starting to. Now you're starting to see who's really the kind of like the cut. The programs are cut to get to make that run to the final four.
So is the matchup to look out for is kind of up here in the corner with Stephenville versus Diamond Hill Jarvis?
That's gonna be a good game, but I'm gonna go with Diamond Hill. I think they might be. I think they're pedigreed by a little too much for Stephenville. They've been on a roll, so I'm gonna favor them, and I think they're more likely gonna end up playing Castleberry in the regional final. And then on the other side, I think Palestine probably go through, and they'll probably end up going against Paris, and that's gonna be a really good regional final for that game.
The bottom half of the bracket, Royal beat Giddings, Hargrave beat East Chambers, Sealy beat Salado, Columbia. And this was I want to say Sunday game with that, a 3-2 win over Splendora. London beat Idea Far. Bernie beat Idea Montepros. And Hidalgo got beat by Idea Riverside. And Taylor got by Fredericksburg. So I know Fredericksburg's probably the big team. Bernie's the big team as far as locally here. Hidalgo, I guess, is in the area as well, right?
They're in the valley.
So I've heard their name mentioned quite a bit, and it just could be from people that I know. But Thoughts on the bottom half of the bracket here? We'll start over on the region. I'm assuming this is Region 3. Royal going against Hargrave.
That's actually a big win for Royal over Giddings. And a buddy of mine, there's a coach over there over there in Full Shirt, Coach Art Trevino, had told me about Royal, that they've really built a really good program out of nowhere. So that's a big win for them. And I think going into this game against Hargrave, I think they're going to be the favorites. Heartbreaker for Fredericksburg against Taylor, but I don't think Taylor's going to get by Hidalgo. Hidalgo's got, like I said, they have the tradition of being one of the best Valley soccer teams for the smaller schools. Bernie, like I said, going into London, that's going to be an interesting game because no one's not too much info about London. They're like an up and coming program, but I still favor Bernie because of the tradition and just being there, I guess having the experience. But now it's going to be a good game. So I do see maybe an Hidalgo Bernie regional final, and then we have Sealy, which is a big upset over Salado, and Salado was actually one of the favorites to win that region. So going in, you can see Sealy going against Columbia
over the east side there.
So I think Sealy probably go over Columbia, and then we probably get to see a Sealy versus Royal, like an little I-10 battle between Royal and Sealy. And then I could see on the other side for Region 4, I see Hidalgo and Bernie in the other regional final.
So moving to the ladies, Stephenville got by Canyon, Midlothian got by Benbrook, San Eli got by Pampa, Argyle got by Life Waxahachie, Melissa got by Anna, Henderson rolled North Lamar 7-1. Selena got by Cotto Mills 12-0, and Selena through their 3 matches hasn't been scored, and I think they've scored
43 goals,
double digits. I think I posted it on there. For that here, and they may not be the strongest competition, but the only team that they've actually lost to is Melissa all year for that here, and they did lose both of those matches. And then Bullard versus Kilgore here, or squeaked by Kilgore 1-0 here. So, thoughts on the top of the bracket here? Anything stand out to you?
I think Region 1, like I said, with Stephenville versus Midlothian, whoever wins that game, like I said, it's going to probably be one of the favorites. I know Stephenville's, I think they're the defending state champs, but I think Midlothian may have them say it. You could see this game going to PKs. Whoever makes a mistake during the game is probably going to take advantage and win that game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but I can see that one going to PKs. San Eli, girls, they're surprising everybody. I know Argyle might be the favorite, but if I'm Argyle, I wouldn't take those girls lightly. They've really built a really good program there. I'll still favor Argyle, but don't count out San Eli's one of pulling the upset. What can you say about Salina? 43 goals in 3 games. I don't know if that's a record for UIL. I think they have to look into the record books. I don't think they're
allowed less than 5 goals all year. Yeah, and they're in a pretty tough division because Salina and Cotto Mills and Melissa and Anna were the 4 playoff teams in there. According to Coach the 50-50 pod, Coach Kano, Argyle took out Sam Eli 5-0 earlier. Took out earlier today here. So there's already one result here that we can put in pen here that Argyle.
And like I said, I had a feeling that it would probably go through, but I didn't think it would be that big of a result. But yeah, I could see. Like I said, I think Salina might have a little, they'll have a game against Buller, but I think it's probably going to end up being Melissa versus Salina in the regional final.
Moving to the bottom half, Lake Belton over Belleville. Bay City squeaked by Little Cypress. Salado beat Lorena. Hardin Jefferson got by Lumberton 2-1. Cal Allen 4-0. Bernie over Canyon Lakes 7-1. London over Santa Brutus, and Wimberley knocked out Fredericksburg. So Fredericksburg, both the boys and girls season ended, but Wimberley versus London, and then Bernie versus Cal Allen. This one here, I think, at least from speaking with you previously, probably is the bigger one of the two.
Yeah. Yeah, Bernie's got a test, so I'm not too familiar with, like I said, with Cal. And I know the last few years they've struggled in 5A, but dropping down to 4A, they've really made some strides. So that's going to be a very good game. I'm not sure where that game is going to be played at.
I can tell you here. Hold on.
I think it could be in Bevo more likely, I think, because I know I was at a coin toss over this weekend, and I think one of the coaches mentioned that the games had to be like a kind of meeting halfway at this point, unless they were flipping home and home.
Let me see if it says here. Yeah, it doesn't. According to Max Prep, it doesn't give the location as of yet. It just says it's a neutral playoff game for that here. But Cal Allen's 22-1 and Bernie's 26-4. So,
yeah, there's a little clash of the Titans there for that game. And then I think Wimberley, London, that's another intriguing game. But I think Wimberley will get by. I think they're in a little tougher district. So I could see a Bernie versus Wimberley rematch for the regional final. On the other side, Region 3, you got to give it to Lake Belton. Being a new school, they're coming along. They're peaking at the right time. They're going to have a hands full of Bay City. Don't be surprised there's an upset there with Lake Belton winning that one. And then Salado, like I said, last few years since they had 4A soccer, they've been pretty dominant. I think they should take care of Hardin Jefferson. So we may see like a Salado, Lake Belton, which I'm sure they're in the same district, playing in the regional finals.
Moving to the 5A ladies. At the top is going to be Amarillo 2-1 over Coronado. Centennial 1-0 over Cooleyville. Wiley over Monterey. Grapevine over Wichita Falls Ryder. Magnolia beat Anderson 3-0. Foster 2-0 over Manville. Hold on, what's it here? Bracket broke. I'm sorry. Grapevine was over Wichita Falls Ryder, and then on the other side, Wakeland beat Reedy 1-0. Forney beat Joshua 3-2. Frisco Memorial 4-0 over Turner, although Turner was, from my understanding, a late replacement going into that game. And then Dallas Highland Park 2, Midlothian nothing. So at least in the 5A girls, a lot closer matches, a lot of one-goal games between there, with the exception of the bottom of the bracket here. Thoughts on Region 1 and Region 2?
Amarillo, Centennial, that's going to be a good game, but I'm going to give the edge to Centennial. I think the Metroplex team are going to advance. And then Wiley, I think that's Abilene Wiley, I believe, versus Grapevine. I think that's Abilene Wiley.
Abilene, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Abilene Wiley versus Grapevine, but I think Grapevine should take care of business. So we'll see it. We'll see a Centennial versus Grapevine final. Region 2 is really stacked because you got 4 teams that can really. But I'm gonna give the edge to Wakeland over Forney. I think Wakeland, because they've been there in the state tournament, they'll advance to the final. Frisco Memorial and Highland Park, that's going to be a very good game. It's going to be, I don't think you're going to see any 4 or 5-0 games. This is going to be a close one. But I'm going to give the edge to Highland Park, so we're going to see a Wakeland versus Highland Park.
These are 2 Metroplex teams, right?
Yeah.
Here where, I think historically the Metroplex teams, especially on the girls' side, turn out very, very good programs.
So that should be a good final there.
And then on the bottom side, Magnolia 3 over Anderson, Foster 2 over Manville, A&M Consolidated 1-4-3 over Pflugerville, and Friendswood beat Port Neches and PKs 6-5. On the other side, Cedar Park got past Bernie Champion. I know that was a team that we were kind of rooting for. McAllen rolled to Corpus Christi Memorial 5-0. Dripping Springs got by Liberty Hill 2-0 in another match that we were looking at, and Gregory Portland got Flower Bluff 1-0. So to me, though, the game that kind of caught my attention was the Friendswood Port Neches. Just looking at from the Houston guys, that was a thrilling game and a good result from Friendswood.
Yeah, Friendswood, like I said, they've had that pedigree the last few years, being one of the elite programs in the Houston area. I think they should take care of business with A&M Consolidated. The surprise has been Foster. Richmond Foster has been a surprise. They've done an excellent job, going through the bracket, and I think they're going up against Magnolia. That's going to be another tough matchup, but I think Foster's going to pull off the upset. So I think I see a Foster versus Friendswood regional final. And then back over here in Region 4, Cedar Park and McAllen. I think that game is going to be played at Cal Allen Stadium in Corpus. Cedar Park better beware with McAllen. 3 years ago, McAllen made the 6A state tournament. And what I've been reading from McAllen, they have a very good midfield. And they flexed their muscle down there in the valley. Like I said, this could be your upset special. So I'm going to actually go with McAllen. I think McAllen's going to upset Cedar Park and get into the final. And then Dripping Springs, they got by a very tough Liberty Hill. I think that's one of the game of the weeks in the Austin area. Dripping Springs versus Gregory Portland. That's another tough matchup. Actually, that game is going to be played, I think, here in San Antonio tomorrow at Comalander. So you have a chance to go see that game. Check it out. You got two top-ranked teams, state-ranked teams. But I'm still going to give the edge to Dripping Springs. It'll be close, but I think Dripping Springs will make it a final. So I'm going to see probably a Dripping Springs McAllen final.
How shocked were you that Birdie Champion lost to Cedar Park?
Wasn't too shocked. It's like what I mentioned to Coach Cano over the weekend. It's like I think there's, with 5A and 6A girls soccer, we see a gap as far as the level of play between Austin and San Antonio. And I think Austin's for girls soccer has overtaken them, and that's why you see a lot of those Austin area. We don't really. That was kind of our last San Antonio area team to still be alive. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that maybe does need to be addressed, and hopefully they can fix that, and we'll start seeing some of our 5A girls, knock off those Austin teams and get into, to the Final Four for the region as well.
Is it, and then like I said here, I don't follow the game as close as you do, obviously. Is it because mainly a lot of the girls programs move up to 6A with the campuses here, where maybe it's more kind of like Harlan last year was 5A and then moved up due to attendance rising attendance. Is that part of it where maybe the 6A girls they keep moving up due to the growth population here in San Antonio?
Some of it could be that. I think others is having the amount of club soccer players on your team, especially if they're playing, if they're playing in ECNL or they're playing State Classic League. If you have more of those players, you're pretty much going to be a team to be reckoned with, going into district and the playoffs. So I think there's a big, gap, maybe like I said, in club play between the Austin girls and the San Antonio girls, and hopefully that'll change in the near future, and that way we can overtake them, and we'll see some 5A, 6A teams from our area get into to the state tournament.
All right, so moving to 5A boys here, top of the bracket. Del Valle 2-1 over Monterey, Grapevine 3-1 over Temple Tech, Palo Duro 4-3 over El Paso Bowie, Colleyville with, from what I understand, an upset over Wichita Falls 2-1. Frisco took out Centennial 2-0. Longview beat Sulphur Springs 3-1. I could never find. Let me see if it's updated as of yet here. Wakeland beat Turner in PKs. It didn't say when I updated the bracket, and even here it's still not showing as far as what the actual results were. Let me see, show details. Yeah, it just says win. It doesn't say what happened in PKs. And then Nagojoshi's upset, or probably not upset, but beat Lufkin. And I think you predict Lufkin. That's why I said it was a upset there. But to me, the big result, just looking at Twitter, was Cooleyville over Wichita Falls, who I think was the number one team going in, or they haven't lost for that here up until that point.
Yeah, that was a shocker over the weekend for them to get knocked off by Colleyville. I think Wichita Falls was the favorite to win the state title.
Yeah, they were undefeated. They were 23-0 going into that match, and Colleyville was 18-4-2 at the point. So Wichita Falls had not lost up until that match.
So going into this regional semifinal game, I think Colleyville is going to be riding high. They cannot fall asleep with this Palo Duro team. This Palo Duro team they've knocked off 2 quality El Paso programs. So it'll be close. I'm still going to give the edge to Colleyville, but don't be surprised if, like I said, Palo Duro pulls off the upset. And then on the top of the bracket, I think Grapevine and El Paso Del Valle, that's going to be a great game. I think they've had some battles in the past. I'm going to go with Del Valle. I think they're going to find a way to win. I think they break through. They eliminated a Metroplex team, so I think we're going to see a Del Valle Colleyville Heritage regional final. Frisco, like I said, should be a good game with Longview. I'm going to go with Frisco. I think they're just playing a lot tougher district than Longview. I think they're more battle tested. The surprises is Wakeland barely getting by Turner. Turner's not one of those programs that that you hear about, and then for Wakeland to struggle with them, hopefully that was a wake-up call. Like I said, those should take care of Nacogdoches. So I'm going to see this could be an all Frisco ISD regional final going in with Wakeland and Frisco High.
Bottom half of the bracket, Kingwood 6-0 over Weiss. Foster won in PKs 3-1 over Sharpstown in a 5-5 thriller. Hendrickson 5-2 over Anderson, and Friendswood 2-0 over Galena Park. Over there. On the other side, Southwest, I think most people, they stepped up and beat Cedar Park, which I think surprised a little bit of people. Just Southwest for real. Valley View 2 over Brownsville Veterans Memorial 1, and Leander had a lead, but Dripping Springs came back and got 2 late goals to get by 3-2, and then Brownsville Porter with I think what you would call a dominant performance over Sherryland.
So looking at Region 3, with the top bracket, I think Kingwood's probably going to be the favorite against Foster. Like I said, Kingwood has a tradition of being one of the best soccer programs in the Houston area. But like I said, Foster's been playing great. It'll be a close game. But I'm going to give the edge to, like I said, I'm going to give the edge to Kingwood, so they should take care of business on that one. And then on the bottom, Pflugerville Hendrickson, they're just keep on chugging along. No one saw that coming. They have a great program, but they're going to run into a real tough test with a battle-tested Friendswood team. I think I'm going to go with Friendswood, so I'm going to see, hopefully, more likely we'll see for Region 3 5A a Friendswood versus Kingwood final, which is going to be another great game. They're in Region 4. Surprise, like I said, Southwest getting a big win over Cedar Park. But now you're going to come up with the real test.
The last time they played, I think you said Valley View took them behind the woodshed.
Yeah, 7-0. Valley View, they beat Vertebrate Memorial. That I actually got to see that game. It was a great game. Valley View got scored on with about just less than 2 minutes, and then they come back with about a minute left. They scored the winning goal. Like I mentioned on the 50-50 podcast, Southwest is a great program, but if you want to be elite, you got to beat Valley View. You have to beat Valley View if you're going to be considered elite. And this is their opportunity. I'm not sure where this game is going to be played at. Probably be in the Corpus. I'm not too sure. I don't think they've posted that yet. But this is the game that they need to win. If you're going to make a statement and then also get that monkey off your back from that 7-0 loss a couple years ago, this is the opportunity. And then down on the bottom, Dripping Springs, you can say they did survive against Leander, but they're going to run into a Brownsville Porter team that's going to probably show no mercy. If Porter has the lead, they're not going to give it up. And Dripping Springs, hopefully they got a wake-up call. But this is going to be a very good game. I think this is in Corpus. I think it's at Cabinet Soccer Complex. I smell upset. I'm going to go with Brownsville Porter. I think they knock them off. It'll be close, but I think Porter's going to knock them off. And then the other regional final, I'm going to give the edge to Valley View. So I'm going to see it. We're going to see probably an all Valley, regional final. Like I said, Southwest has an opportunity to, if they can get through, they had a good shot. Like I said, but I'm going to give the edge right now because of Valley, because of the tradition that they have the last few years, making it to the state tournament, for the last few years.
Looking at the rankings, Southwest is actually, looking at Max Prep's rankings. Southwest is the lowest ranked team, per that region. So it will be. I'm happy with how far that they've got because I think a lot of people had concerns whether they would get past the second round. And not only that, they got past, Cedar Park, which, is a, which is a solid, school with history to get by. But yeah, Valley View, that sounds like that's going to be a different animal. And then to me, I want to kind of see how Dripping Springs kind of responds. Last week they came back against Leander. Brownsville Porter, like I said here, smashed Sherryland in the mouth here, obviously 7-1. So it would be interesting if Dripping Springs is able to live up to the high rankings that they are.
I think they're going to have trouble adjusting to that Valley style of soccer. That especially with the elite teams have a certain style of play that really gives a lot of teams problems. I know it's giving some San Antonio teams problems. They're very possession based, but they know how to pick you apart. And Brownsville Porter is a very patient team. They have a lot of experience. Like I said, they got 2 state titles under their belt, and you can say Dripping Springs is going to have to travel all the way to Corpus. That's another factor is that the fields down there are very windy, and that's could make a difference of some of these games, going into the finals.
So you mentioned Austin in the girls is kind of a step up from San Antonio, and I know you haven't shied about this, where you think the Valley has a step over San Antonio area, since we are a San Antonio focused show here. Are you seeing that gap close, or is it still kind of keeping that same distance where the Valley? Because looking at the results here, there's one San Antonio school, but it's really dominated. You got the Dripping Springs, but 2 Valley schools. The final, out of the Final Four here.
I think it's. I know in the past San Antonio had that edge. There was a big gap with them in the Valley, but all of a sudden the Valley took over. I think it's kind of back a little bit, almost close to even. I know for 5A or 6A it's a little bit different, but I think the biggest influence is like a lot of having the club there, especially there in the Valley. I'm sure Edson would probably agree with this. Having those academies like the Dynamo Academy, the Toros Academy, has really helped build some of those programs out there. And the way they can.
The Dynamo have partnered with Laredo Heat as well down south there, to where they're part of that program. I know they're independent, but they've affiliated with them, so that's also there. And Robert Rankin mentioned, the girls soccer in the Valley's catching up as well. I know Austin's kind of the beast right now, but Robert seems to be saying that the Valley's catching up to San Antonio as well. So
having more of those teams compete, like in like a state classic league and ECNL, having those academies have really helped develop a lot of those players down there. Now they have a place. Back then they didn't have a place to play. Most of them have been like kind of playing in the adult leagues and just winning games by raw talent. Now that you have academies down there, they have the opportunity to get polished and made a lot better, technically a lot better. So that's why you're seeing a lot more of those teams, get into the state tournaments each year.
So moving to the 6A boys. Keller beat Keller Central 2-0. Allen beat Prosper 3-1. El Paso Eastlake 6-2 over Byron Nelson. And Dallas Jesuit beat Boyd 5-4 after a 0-0 match in PKs. Over Rockwall Heath beat Duncanville 1-0. Klein Forest beat Langham Creek 2-0. Sachet beat Lake Ridge 1-0. And Bridgeland beat MacArthur 3-1. So what stands out over here, I think Allen and Prosper was the big match going in.
Yeah, well, the one that stands out is that 6-2 drubbing by El Paso Eastlake on Nelson. And going into the Dallas Jesuit game, they're playing that game, I think, in San Angelo. That's going to be another tough game. I don't think the Metroplex teams likes to travel out to West Texas. Every time they've gone out there, they've lost, or some have barely got back, won by their skin or their teeth. Eastlake's going to win that game. I think they'll take care of Jesuit. They'll advance to the final. Allen versus who's we have on top of them?
Allen versus Keller.
Keller. That's going to be a good game, but I'm going to give the edge to Allen. So I do see an Allen versus El Paso Eastlake regional final, which probably going to be played in Midland, Odessa, or somewhere in San Angelo. So that's going to be a long road trip for both teams. The Region 2, big win for Rockwall Heath to knock off Duncanville. I think Duncanville was one of the favorites for Region 2. But I think they're going to run into a really good Klein Forest team. Quality win versus Langham Creek. So I think Klein Forest will advance there. Sasky knocking off Lake Ridge. That's a big, like I said, that was a big win for them. They're going up against, let me see, who's on the bottom. Bridgeland. That's going to be a good game. I'm going to go with, I think Sasky probably get the edge. It's going to be a close game. So I'm going to go with Sasky. So it'll be Sasky versus Klein Forest regional final.
Yeah, you're looking at it here. So this is winner of Rockwall Creek finished third in Division 10, and Klein Forest won 15. Mm-hmm. And then Sachet won Division 9, and Bridgeland was the runner-up in 16. So really lots of talent going all over the top of the bracket. So the bottom of the bracket, Tompkins 1-0 over Seven Lakes. Humble beat Channelville 2-1. Jersey Village 5-1 over Cinco Ranch. Elif Ellis over North Shore 4-2. Harlan got by Laredo United 2-0. Lake Travis beat Round Rock Westwood. Laredo Alexander took out Del Rio, so Del Rio's good run comes to an end. And in the San Antonio Classico, Lee got by Clemens, and I know you were at that game. So you want to start with that one or end with that one?
We'll go with Region 3 with Tompkins and Seven Lakes. Those two teams are in the same district of the Katy ISD. We knew that game was going to be close. I thought Seven Lakes would probably pull that out, but Tompkins has been the last few years. Tompkins has been pulling off upsets. So like I said, they have a good shot at against Humble. I think Tompkins knocks those Humble. They get to the final. Surprised that Jersey Village knock off Cinco Ranch. That's another Katy ISD team. They get knocked off 5-1, and then Ailey Velsic knocking off North Shore. That was another good Houston area game. I think Ailey Velsic's going to knock off Jersey Village, so I'm more likely for Region 3 final going to be see Tompkins versus Ailey Velsic. And then Region 4, did go see the Lee game versus Clemens. That was a great game. Clemens could have put I think honestly, Clemens could have won this game. They're up 1-0. They had lots of opportunities. This game could have gone, 3-0, 4-1. They just missed out on those opportunities. And Lee, they kind of fixed things up, and they got the first goal in, and then just started rolling from there. And Clemens kind of ran out a little gas, but you got to give it to Lee. So they found a way to win, and they're going up against Laredo Alexander, which did go see that game on Saturday. They're at Ferris. Del Rio had beaten them twice in district play, but Alexander came to play, and watching that game, you can tell that Alexander was the aggressor. They had a game plan. I mean, Del Rio was just way out of sync. They just couldn't do anything. They missed a couple opportunities, but Alexander, they dominated that game. But, and I'll talk about who's going to win between Lee and Alexander. And then Lake Travis, they got by the skin of their teeth with Westwood. I'm sure Westwood gave them a good scare. And I think that was what was going to happen. And then a big win for Harlan to go down to Laredo. I mean, United's a quality program. So they've gone 2 big wins, knocking off 2 district champs. But they got a tall task tomorrow.
Lake Travis is the favorite, right?
Yeah, Lake Travis versus Harlan. They're playing, I think, at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at New Braunfels Canyon High School. So you have a chance to cheer on the Hawks. If Harlan can build a lead and hold on to it, which they've had, which I know they can pull off the upset. Like I said, I'm still going to give the edge to Lake Travis. Like I said, they're battle tested. Not saying that Harlan isn't, just kind of the quality of the teams that they have beaten. Like I said, they're, especially this game against Westwood. I'm going to give, like I said, the edge to Lake Travis. But if Harlan can get a lead, like I said, I think they can pull off the upset. But then on the top, Lee versus Alexander, that game is going to be in Corpus as well tomorrow. I was there for their coin flip. It's pretty interesting where they want some of the places they're trying to play. But I just don't see Alexander at the same level with Lee. Like I said, Alexander's got – they have some good players, but I did see some little kinks on the armor, especially the goalkeeping. I'm not too sure about their goalkeeper. He, like I said, especially going against a team like Lee. Lee will win this. Don't be surprised if this could get out of hand. Like a 3-0, 4-0 game. I could see that happening. If Lee can just control this, but they can't go into the game, overconfident. Because like I said, Alexander got here for a reason. But I'm going to give Lee the edge, and then hopefully next Friday night, somewhere, hopefully it'll be a game and be in San Antonio. We'll have a Lee versus Lake Travis regional final.
Or Harlan. I'm rooting for Harlan to San Antonio.
We're rooting for Harlan, but
pull the upset. So just kind of circling back on the Lee Clemens. I didn't go. I saw some of the some of it on Facebook and Twitter that you're showing here. It was a physical game. Reading the comments, from you and others. Just how physical was that? And with the games being turned around as quick as they are, beating Clemens obviously is a high because it's a city team, and I'm not saying Laredo Alexander and Del Rio aren't a rival, but there's quite a bit of distance. It's not a city thing. Do you think there's anything where Lee maybe comes down a little bit that maybe they could worry about since they got past Clemens, which was one of the top teams in the state as well?
I think what out of that game was something that I learned, that the Lee defense tends to fall asleep at times. The goals they've given up, like I said, I went to see them play against Vandergrift. The 2 goals that they gave up is when the defense kind of lapse. And at this stage of the playoffs, you cannot lapse, because that one lapse could, you can end up, like I said, you can end up losing a 1-0 game. And it can roll that way. So I think that's something that the Lee defense has to really start, be more alert, be around their surroundings, and making sure they're clearing the ball away from danger, better communication with the goalkeeper. because that's what I saw from that first goal. A little bad communication, and then they were having trouble with some speed in the back. They were getting some balls behind them, but if they can fix that, like I said, that should not be a problem for Lee to advance. But like I said, if you cannot do something like a team like a quality like Lake Travis, that will take advantage of that. So that's something that I learned from that game. But like I said, every game you play, you learn something. You make sure you make your adjustments, and hopefully, like I said, you can take care of business when you play that.
And we know the coach does make adjustments, and will
nitpick. I'm sure Coach Rogers. Yeah, I'm sure Coach Rogers was aware of that. He'll take care of that, and like I said, I'm sure he'll have a game plan going into tomorrow's game. What he can exploit. What he can exploit on Laredo Alexander. For me, like I said, I saw Alexander. Great players. I think they can exploit them on the defense. Maybe I think the central mid, goalkeeping. I'm not too confident about their goalkeeper. I think if they can pepper them with a bunch of shots, especially from outside, like I said, I think this could turn into a rout if the goalkeeper doesn't step up on tomorrow's night's game.
Now for the ladies here, the final bracket here for the evening here. Keller got past Byron Nelson 2-0, which I think was an upset because you had Byron Nelson going through. Marcus got past Hebron 1-0. VR Eaton got past South Lake Carroll. Flower Mound 3-1 over Prosper. On the other side, Lake Ridge got by Belton. Tomball Memorial 2-1 over Klein Kane. Mansfield beat Waxahachie 2-1, and the Woodlands 5-0 over Tomball. So, top of the bracket, what stands out to you?
That Keller knocking off Byron Nelson. Keller versus Marcus is going to be a good game, but I'm going to give the edge to the Marcus girls. Like I said, Marcus and Hebron, that's one of the classicals there for that Louisville area. They're in that same district, and like I said, they're battle tested. So I'm going to give the edge to Marcus on that one. Eaton surprising some teams, knocking off Salt Lake Carroll, but they're going to run into the really good Flower Mound team. I think Flower Mound advance. So I'm going to see a good the rival schools, Flower Mound Marcus versus Flower Mound for the Region 1 final. And then Region 2, Lake Ridge squeaking by Belton. I think that's Belton's for the girls. I think that's a pretty good showing for them for the last few years. I guess first going to the playoffs the last few years. But they're going to run into a really tough Tomball Memorial team. But I'm going to give Lake Ridge the edge on that. And then on the bottom, we have another Dallas-Houston area matchup. I'm going to go with the Woodlands. They should take care of business over Mansfield. So I think we're going to see a Lake Ridge versus Woodlands regional final for Region 2.
Down to the bottom half, Cy-Fair beats Seven Lakes 1-0. Westbrook 4-2 in PKs over Clear Lake. Houston Memorial 5-1 over Stratford, and Clear Creek defeated Brazos Wood 1-0. On the Region 4 side, Vandergrift got past Round Rock Westwood 2-1. Brennan got past Edinburgh Vela 2-0. Round Rock got by Lake Travis 1-0. And Los Fresnos got by Donna North 6-1. So looking over here at Region 3, I think one of the things, going back to the preview show here, you mentioned Houston Memorial was, because I think they're one of the downtown schools, if memory serves me correct what you said. You said watch out for them because they are a powerhouse and they are living up at least on their side of the bracket at this point.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough. I know that the next game versus Clear Creek, that's going to be a tough game, but I'm going to go with the momentum. I think Houston Memorial squeaks by. They get into the final. And then the other surprise is that Beaumont Westbrook team. Nobody was talking about them as far as making a run into going deep in the playoffs. Getting the shootout win versus Clear Lake. That's a big win for them. The surprise is Cy-Fair knocking off Seven Lakes. I thought Seven Lakes was going to win this region, but Cy-Fair had other ideas.
The other plans.
So I'm gonna give Cypher the edge because of the big win versus Seven Lakes. So I think we're gonna see a Houston Memorial Cypher Region 3 final. And then for Region 4, Vandergrift had a real tough game with Westwood. We knew that was going to be a tough matchup. But Vandergrift, like I said, quality team. Like I said, I got to see them play. Real physical, real fast, great technical play. So they're going to advance again, and they're going to face the Brandon Lady Bears from San Antonio, the last San Antonio team. They had a big win over there against Enderburg Vela and Corpus. This is going to be, like I said, Brennan's going in as the underdog, but this game is going to be played tomorrow night at Swinson Valley High School.
At 7 o'clock.
At 7 o'clock. So you have a chance. Go cheer on for the Brandon Lady Bears. Like I said, one of my former Texan players, Kelsey, good luck to you. Hopefully you scored some goals on Vandergrift. But I'm going to give the edge on Vandergrift. Like I said, to put 6 goals on Reagan, that says something there. But I think the Brandon Ladies Bears are going to give them a fight. They're not going to go down. But like I said, Vandergrift, I think they're going to advance. And then the other bracket, the shocker was Lake Travis losing to Round Rock. Everybody thought Lake Travis was going to win the region. It's not going to happen. Round Rock Lady Dragons had something to say on this. They're going up against Los Fresnos. And I think we did a poll. I think they're picking Los Fresnos to win the region. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. The pedigree with Round Rock is a lot. There's a big discrepancy between them and Los Fresnos. So Round Rock's going to advance. So we're going to see a Round Rock versus Vandergrift rematch because they're in the same district. Should be a good one, and I'll save who wins for that for Wednesday.
So, Brennan, you're not giving much of a shot to it. Sounds like here. For that here in Los Fresnos, you mentioned not a big shot despite them coming through beating Jay, was it Laredo Alexander, and then Donna North. So that's where we're at. The other big news, which I don't believe is positive, but Tasco came out. And per a tweet here stated, this year there will be no all tournament passes sold. Stadium will be emptied after every game. You'll need a new ticket, which is $20 to enter. If you want to see all 3 girls finals on Friday and all 3 boys finals, it'll cost you a total of $120 here. So thoughts on that? So that seems... It seems odd for this late in the game to be saying, hey, because I think normal practice is if you buy a ticket in, you're in for, until you leave. At least that's how it is at, most high school games if there's multiple games here. Outside of the money grab idea here, any thoughts on why Tasco would do this? And
not so much Tasco, it's more of the UIL.
Is it?
Like I said, it's not Tasco's fault on this. It's more of the UIL. I mean, I've been to the state tournaments. I mean, I buy the pass. Usually the pass is $20 or $25, and you get to see all the games. Mostly all the coaches go there, flock there to go see who wins the finals and so forth. But for the UIL to charge $20 per game, that's just ridiculous. I mean, especially if you're trying to cover maybe a couple. Some of them, let's say, have 2 Metroplex teams or 2 San Antonio area teams. You want to stick around and watch the game, but I think the UIL really dropped the ball. It kind of makes them look like they're more care about making money than showing having a good state finals tournament.
Because I could see if you were, I could say, hey, $20 for one game, but let's say $40. Or $30 for day one, or $80 if you do both games, both days along those, like selling it as a package, but doing it as an individual game and no breaks, hey, if you want to do the 6, not that I was planning on going in the first place, but that's going to deter, I have a feeling, a lot of a lot of people from doing it, and most important, family and friends that may go see go see the kids, and as you mentioned, if there's 2 schools from the area, to be able to go and stay and support the other area team through their hair. So to me, like I said here with you, it's I'm not sure if this is why they do it this late here, but to me it came across not in good taste here. We'll just leave it at that here. So
yeah, because even in the past, like when I've gone, usually it's a 2-day event, like Thursday. Well, it's been lately 3-day event. Usually you have Thursdays, you have the 4A, and then part of the 5A semifinals, and then Friday you had the rest of the 5A, 6A finals. So usually you had a tournament pass for like $25-$30. So you got to see, more than the 6 games, at least 12 games for that price. And most of the who get the passes are the coaches, because they want to meet up with their buddies and so forth. And that's how I used to meet up with some of the other coaches I knew at the time, just to kind of.
Even at $20 a game, like I've been to a couple of high school games, even for high school football, it's $10 or less usually. So for $20, for each game, to me that kind of stings a little bit. And like I said here, if AJ was playing, would I go pay it? Of course. For family, you're going to pay it if it's your kid, son or daughter that's playing. If it was my alma mater playing, that'd be something to consider. But for somebody that doesn't have an interest and just wants to go and support the teams there, that's a hard thing to swallow. For that here, which I think is a disservice in trying to help grow the games for that here, but. Final thoughts there? Go ahead.
Final thoughts. It's not like they're playing the games and maybe I can understand if they're playing the games like at Toyota Field or Toyota Stadium or they're in Houston, the BVA Compass, where they're actually playing in a real soccer stadium, not at a football stadium in Georgetown. I could see maybe the price that, and then maybe group in like a group deal, like, okay, you can see all 6 games for $40. Or $50. Okay, that's understandable, but to try to milk out $20 per game, that's just kind of it's a big the UIL should really reconsider this. It just shows them, they care more about. It's not a positive thing. It's more about money to them than showing a good, state final tournament. They're that weekend.
So, unlike the San Antonio FC Dallas game, I think we had a good result on here. We got through the bracket here in a timely manner. For that here on Wednesday, we'll go over the results from tonight and tomorrow. Most of the games are tomorrow. Looking at the schedule, so I apologize that I didn't see any of today because when I did a quick look, most of them look to be for tomorrow. But on Wednesday, we'll turn around and go over, and I think the state finals are this weekend, right? If memory serves me correct.
No, we have the regional finals this weekend, and then next Tuesday will be the state semifinals, which is pretty interesting that now instead of having it in one location for a state semifinal, you're going to have to travel. It's going to be interesting. Let's say, for example, the Woodlands wins region 1 for the boys, and or I don't know what Houston area team we had. And let's say El Paso Eastlake wins. Where are they gonna meet halfway? That's gonna be on a Tuesday night on a school night too. That I don't think the UIL really thought through this, because that scenario could happen.
Star testing as well. I know AJ has and Annie have star testing tomorrow, for 7th grade. So it is that season as well where star testing comes into play. I'm not sure where it comes in with athletics, but typically those are days that they don't want you missing or anything along those lines here. So final thoughts for tonight here, Rafa. Like I said here, not a lot SAFC related. We did go over the brackets here. Hopefully, I think SAFC has another match this week, or maybe not here. It's preseason, so it's hard to kind of keep up with their schedule for that here because they're closed door anyways. I know we got our tickets for that here, but any other questions that you have? Any final thoughts?
Just final thought. Like I said, good luck to all our San Antonio area teams. Regardless of my predictions, like I said, we do want San Antonio to be represented in the state in the state tournament and so forth. So good luck to you all. You guys make sure you guys have a safe trip and be safe. And then if you guys have a chance, get vaccinated. Today I got vaccinated, as you can see here.
Get my first shot tomorrow.
Didn't hurt too much. You did a good job and no side effects yet, but just precaution. Got my Pedialyte just in case. So, but if you have an opportunity, get vaccinated. Like I said, luckily I got the Johnson & Johnson one, so
I hate you.
I think by 14 days, I think I'll be ready to go. Hey, on my birthday too, so I'll be fully vaccinated, ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited because my first shot is tomorrow. The next shot is the 5th, May 5th, which is right after the first game. Mm-hmm. So I may have only 2 game exposure, and without having the full full both shots for that here. So I'm excited that for this year, being fully vaccinated, for the San Antonio FC matches here. And like I said here, me and Rafa, and Royce as well. If you have the opportunity to get vaccinated, please do, because I think I saw a tweet. Sooner or later, the insurance companies are going to come out, and if you're not vaccinated, just how they like to make money, they may raise prices. But of course, that'll be towards the end of the year. But to me, if you can get vaccinated, and even if you are vaccinated, please wear a mask because it not only covers you, but it also covers the people that you're involved with. So while you are protected, others may not be if they haven't had the opportunity to get scheduled for that here. So do want to thank you, Rafa, for coming on. Like I said here, Royce, hope you're having a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week with hopefully more SAFC news for that here. But thank you for turning into the SA Soccer Roundtable. What's life without goals?